Hello, hello, Carl. It is exciting to have you working with us, buddy.
Hey, LaNetra. So excited that you guys asked me to be on board. It's going to be a real treat for me. I understand you got some questions for me. I don't think I have the answers, but I'm going to do the best I can.
Please, if you don't mind telling us, where are you from?
So I am from Long Island, New York, originally from Plainview. Did my undergrad at Binghamton University, my master's at Syracuse University, and doing my PhD currently at Rutgers University.
How would you describe your music?
Asking the heavy hitting questions right off the bat. How would I describe my music? I'd like to think that I am very polystylistic in the sense of I didn't have a traditional background. I actually did my first undergraduate degree in neuroscience, and before that, I was just a heavy metal guy, rocker, guitarist. So I try to incorporate as much as I can from my rock, jazz, pop, hip hop worlds. That I was so entrenched in growing up into my classical compositions. I also like to think I'm very programmatic. I really like to tell a story, whether or not the listener can identify the story or not is kind of besides the point. It just really helps me to gravitate towards a longer narrative when writing, especially writing chamber music and instrumental works without voice. A lot of people say my music is pretty cinematic, definitely influenced by kind of like the epicness that has emerged in the cinematic world. But overall, I'd like to think that I am pretty polystylistic, some kind of combination of neo-classical romantic meets post-minimalism meets rock and roll and jazz and kind of a big fusion of a bunch of stuff.
What inspired you to join the collective?
Well, it was honestly you guys, right off the bat. That's a pretty simple answer, but I met all of Adelante Winds at Fresh Ink Festival 3 summers ago now. Wow, time's flying. But I absolutely adored all of you guys and loved spending time with you over those 2 weeks. And I always wanted to work with you all and write for you guys. So when you guys approached me with this new collective, it just seemed like the absolute perfect opportunity to join you guys in creating something new and exciting and really writing a piece that was about you all, and trying to connect not just me writing a piece for Wind Quintet, but writing a piece for the Adelante Winds and all the other Wind Quintets that are part of the initiative. That's really important to me.
How have the events of 2020 affected your music?
That's a great question, and I think I'm still figuring that out a little bit. Um, the biggest thing for me is really just staying focused in such a crazy time in the world and in our country, between COVID-19 and the social justice issues that are going on. It makes you question, um, really why it is that we are doing this thing we do, which is writing and creating music. And I think it's just important to remind ourselves that it's really how we express ourselves and how we are expressing our feelings about the world around us and what's going on. And it's how we're responding. And not to sell ourselves short, and not to sell our artwork short either. I think it's really important to constantly remind ourselves that even though there's so much going on and oftentimes your craft feels irrelevant or unimportant, but it's actually the opposite, and it's so important, and it's so crucial to continue writing and responding to what's going on around us.
How have the effects of 2020 affected you personally?
Well, just with COVID-19 alone, everything kind of got flipped on its head. Summer festivals were canceled. A lot of my commissions and plans to collaborate with artists kind of got postponed indefinitely and pushed back, which is another reason why I was so eager to join this initiative and so inspired and grateful that you guys asked me because it's important for us to keep moving and keep creating our art, right? Just kind of re-emphasizing what I said before about making sure and reminding ourselves that what we're doing is relevant and important, even in these crazy times in the grand scheme of things. We can't forget that. Um, but also, my entire first year of my doctoral program has been online, which has definitely been a real challenge. It's crazy to think that the only time I set foot on my doctoral college campus was when I interviewed over a year ago. I think these two questions are actually very much connected. As composer, it's hard to tell the difference sometimes about what affects you personally and what affects your music, because ultimately we're writing based off of our life experiences and how we are reacting and interacting with the world around us. So just everything that's going on right now has really impacted my music, and I hope it's pushing it into a more creative and impactful direction. Um, but you guys could be the judge of that.
How do you see your piece invoking Brett's vision?
The piece that I'm planning to write is all going to be based around the blues in some aspect. I think we're actually going to call it the quarantine blues. And it kind of evolved from our initial conversations about what we wanted this piece to be about and how we wanted it to be a response to the world around us. And actually, the Adelante Winds flautist, Ramona Douglas, brought up this idea of doing a blues, and it kind of just struck me as such a cool and interesting idea. Throughout history, the blues has kind of been a historical way for people to express themselves and express their emotions and respond to the world around them in a really creative outlet. And I thought it would just be a really cool idea to kind of bring that into, the 21st century wind quintet literature, and to have the piece be based around a quarantine blues and something that we're all kind of feeling and going through together, but that we are able to express how we feel about it through these simple chord progressions. So I'm really going to kind of play around with typical blues progressions and hopefully blow them out of proportion in crazy fun ways, but hoping to create a piece at the end of the day that not just encompasses this healthy expression and responsive experiences that we're all responding to through the initiative, but also a piece that is fun to play and really gets at the heart of the blues, which is, to express yourself and to let it all out.
What do you hope that audiences will take away with your piece?
The biggest thing for me is that audiences have a emotional connection. Um, and I really loved how Dr. Gary Powell Nash, who is the composer for the Chillon Quintets part of this initiative, said that he just wanted people to feel and have a response, whether that be highly positive or highly negative. The worst thing a composer can have is someone that just feels indifferent about their music. And I very much relate to that, and that resonates with me. I definitely want people to connect on some kind of emotional level. And that being said, I never want to tell people how to feel, right? I hope my music has kind of legs of its own and can inspire you to feel in a breadth of different ways. And for each person, could be completely unique in that emotional experience. But I do hope that it makes you feel something, and kind of going in relation to what this piece is going to be about, which is kind of a blues. I hope that it lets you utilize the blues in whatever way is best for you in that given moment, whether that be a more of a saddened expressive outlet or a positive expressive outlet, but just kind of allows you to feel something and to live in the moment.
What do you hope carries over from 2020 into performing arts going forward?
I hope that this whole experience of 2020 shows us how important the arts are for people and how important artistic expression and artistic response is. Um, I also hope that it illuminates the need for art and music and connectivity in our culture and in our world. I hope live audiences become a thing again in the future and people realize how rewarding and how intimate and connected a live concert actually can be. And in a world that's continuously going digital, I hope this kind of shakes us back into remembering that some things aren't best digital, and music is not something that can only be enjoyed on an individual level with AirPods, but can be enjoyed in a room with lots of other people, with live musicians that are actually making it. I cannot wait to share the piece that I'm composing with you all, and I can't wait to hear it in a real room with you guys performing it live and give you guys a big hug afterwards. And I hope that it makes people feel something. So again, LaNetra, thank you so much for asking me these questions. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see where this initiative goes in the future.